Hey guys, Monochrome here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Genuinely good to have you. First off, apologies for the echo. I'm not in my usual filming location, so sorry about that. And as you saw from the title, this is a review for the Tissot, and I'm probably going to butcher the name, Chemin Des Tourelles Powermatic 80 39 millimeter. So yeah, welcome to my first watch review, and ironically, I'm going to start out with the last watch I ever bought, which was back in January of this year. So what do you get with the model? Well, you get a traditional watch box that's not the highest quality, but considering the price, it's decent. The watch comes on a tiny black watch pillow, and also inside the box you get this handy Tissot quick start guide. You also get a warranty card. And you get the watch. Let's start off with it on the wrist. There it is. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, this particular one is the 39 millimeter version. You can get bigger versions. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. So there it is on my wrist. I have a 7-inch wrist. Yep. And as you can see, this 39 millimeter version fits very nicely. Now I'm going to take it off the wrist and we're going to continue with the review. Here's the strap. Sorry about the reflections from the overhead light. Now this is a dark brown alligator style strap from Tissot. It does have a signed stainless steel buckle. Again, alligator style, not an actual alligator strap. It's cowhide. The back is synthetic. And yes, you do get a display case back, which we'll take a look a little bit later. Now, this does look great. However, this is not the strap that came with the watch. One thing I do like is that this strap and the one that came with it, if you can see that right there, quick release straps. Pull down on that, this comes off. Pull up on that, this comes off. They come off a lot easier than putting them back on, but these are quick exchange, quick release straps, and I absolutely love this relatively modern day bit of, for lack of a better word, technology in the watch world. I mean, seriously, I just take one of my thinner pry bars, push down, push up, these come off, and I can put them back on. So yeah, this strap from Tissot, 20 millimeters. So that's nice on this particular model. You don't have oddball lugs like 21 millimeters or even worse, 19 millimeters. I mean, seriously. Yeah, nice traditional 20 millimeters. And even though it's not an alligator strap, you do have to break it in as if it was one. So yeah, a bit stiff, but you wear the watch a while and it softens up a bit, curves nicely. Yeah. So let me show you the original strap. Here it is. And yeah, the reason why I took this one off, which is also quick release, as you can see, is because one, it's a little too soft. Yes, it's soft, it's supple, normally a good thing, but the problem is it's a little too soft because it comes with a butterfly clasp. Now, obviously, you're going to have that on any watch that's on a bracelet, and I don't mind having it on a leather strap if it's made properly. Unfortunately, this one, yeah, sadly, no. The problem is right here. Yeah. Slipping the other end of this strap through there with that post is a headache and a half. Now, I do have a similar setup on my Baume & Mercier Clifton Club, but that, yeah, that one is a lot better than this one. I'm sorry. It just is. And I personally prefer a buckle on a traditional leather strap. So because this one from Tissot that came standard with the watch is not well made in my opinion, I swapped it out. And thankfully, yes, that buckle is signed as well. This replacement strap from Tissot was $45, and I'm glad I got it. So let's move on to the crown. Now, this does not have a screw-down crown. The first position, you can manually wind this automatic watch. You pull it out to the second position, it's a quick set date feature, which I do not like because quick set date features can get confused. I mean, when you're rotating the crown and the hands are moving all around the dial, when you get to the 12 o'clock position, if the date switches over, oh, okay, that's midnight. If it doesn't, okay, that's 12 noon. Problem is, you can sometimes set the date feature in the morning, which is what you're supposed to do, and the watch is like, oh, it must be almost midnight. Well, no, it's almost 12 noon. So quick set date features can get confused, but the nice thing is it is a quick set date feature. So if it's the wrong date, pull it out to the second position, turn the crown a little bit, and this will go through the date. But you also have to be careful because since this is a mechanical watch with an automatic winding rotor, yeah, you're really not supposed to set the time or adjust the watch between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m. On some models, 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. because it can actually mess up the movement on the inside. So yeah, that's lovely. The third position you pull it out to, it stops the second hand, and you can move the hour and minute hands. Now, on camera, it looks as though you have two-sided hands. The left side of each hand seems to have white loom, and the right side doesn't. Well, that's an optical illusion. There is no lume on this watch. None at all. Absolutely none. But I like that optical illusion. And the lack of lume isn't an issue because you get some nice reflections from sunlight, overhead light on this slightly domed crystal. And this is not a thick watch at all. Guys, as usual, specs in the description box below. And this time there's going to be a lot of them. But yeah, slightly domed crystal on this very formal looking dress watch. And I realized I didn't have a dedicated dress watch in my collection, so I wanted it. I bought this to commemorate a very special occasion in my life. And yeah, overall, I'm glad I got the watch, but keep in mind, no lume. Tissot, founded in 1853. Now, the odd thing about Tissot is that, yes, it is a heritage brand, but at the same time, it has become a mass market brand. Now, you'd think that those two couldn't possibly go together, but when you take a look at Tissot's lineup, they have some relatively inexpensive quartz models, right around $300, $350, and they do have some rather impressive mechanical / automatic models, such as this one, and especially the Tissot Gentleman. This one, $750, again, purchased only a few weeks ago. So we've covered the crown. The case is stainless steel. There's the movement inside the Powermatic 80. Now, let's just deal with the biggest issue with this movement. Tissot claims up to an 80-hour power reserve, and that's not a joke. You get 80 hours with a sweeping seconds hand. Now, the standard for the longest time in the watch industry used to be 38 hours, meaning you would take your watch off on a Friday night after work, and then, okay, time to put the watch back on my wrist. It's Monday morning, and the watch has stopped, because obviously a typical weekend is longer than 38 hours. But this, 80 hours, and this is one of the best in the watch world right now. That's right, 80 hours. Only Baume & Mercier has a bigger power reserve of 5 days on certain of their models, but B&M is a full-on luxury brand. Tissot is not. It's a heritage brand. It's a mass market brand, not luxury. So 80-hour power reserve. That is impressive. The issue on my particular watch, though, is that there's different grades of the Powermatic 80 movement. This particular model, it does have the very advanced silicium hairspring that really helps with anti-magnetic properties, something you don't have to worry about on quartz models. On mechanical automatic watches you do, and that's great. That's great. The problem being the lower grade Powermatic 80 movement, the watch has plastic parts inside. Yeah, not a lot of plastic parts, and you can't see them through the display window. However, the escape wheel and the pallet fork are both plastic. Now, you're going to have some young, independent watchmakers who will say, oh, that's no problem. That's a wonderful advanced feature because you can have those plastic parts and they don't need oils or lubrication on the inside of the watch. So that's a wonderful advanced feature. Yeah, that's nonsense. That is nonsense. One of the first things you learn when you develop a serious interest in this hobby of watches is that plastic parts go into cheap watches. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. If you're buying a cheap watch, you should expect it to have plastic parts. And again, nothing wrong with that if you just want something that you can glance at your wrist and tell the time and not have to fish your freaking phone out of a pocket or out of a holster. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But it has two very important plastic parts. And I'm sorry, but plastic parts you find in cheap watches, $750 is not cheap, okay? This is not a $25 or $30 Casio. It's not. It should not contain plastic parts, especially not those two particularly important plastic parts, but it does. So, do I feel cheated? No, because the two main things I wanted was a really good-looking dress watch with a bit of a sunburst dial. I got that. Very good looking. And I wanted something with a longer power reserve. And I got that. I mean, heck, 80 hours? That is impressive. And again, there are higher grades of the Powermatic 80 movement. For example, the Tissot Gentleman model has fewer plastic parts on the inside. But yeah, traditionally, I don't care what some modern day young watchmaker will tell you. Plastic parts belong inside of cheap or very inexpensive watches. Oh, it helps with lubrication because you don't need oils. I mean, no. Again, that is nonsense. Ask any experienced old world watchmaker. What do plastic parts mean? Oh, it's a very inexpensive watch or one built to a very low price point. That's the reality. Now, personally, I don't mind because, again, I wanted this watch for its looks and its power reserve. 80 hours? Ooh. And that's not a joke. I have been testing this watch after it was properly wound. I mean, it's been going days upon days without stopping. I mean, 80 hours is impressive. Now, when you take a look at the movement on the inside, unfortunately, yeah, it's not very impressive looking, as you can see. But it's still nice to look at anyway. Water resistance, because this is not a screw down crown, which means that if you're manually winding the watch, you're not going to strip a bunch of teeny tiny, almost microscopic threads. So water resistance is only 50 meters, but wow, that is really good for something that doesn't have a screw down crown, considering a lot of other models, including from Tissot, are going to be only 30 meters water resistance. And it's not just about depth, it's also about pressure. You take a 30-meter water-resistant watch, a brand new one, with all the seals in place, you go and you take a shower, a regular shower, guess what? Your watch is going to get flooded because it's about pressure, not just about depth. That's something some folks just don't understand. But yeah, I wanted a really good-looking dress watch with a fantastic power reserve, something that would fit into a lot of occasions, formal occasions, something that just looks good, and I got it. Now, another issue with the Powermatic 80 movement is that, well, it's missing something. Namely, the adjustment lever. There isn't one. And again, you'll hear some young independent watchmakers be like, oh, that's an advantage. If you bump your watch and it has that lever, it might not keep time as well as it used to. Well, guess what? If a watch doesn't have that lever, and your watch stops keeping time accurately, you're going to have to send it in to an experienced watchmaker to adjust it for you. Meanwhile, on some watch models, if you have the right tools, which are inexpensive, you can do it yourself. And speaking of independent watchmakers, because the movement has plastic parts on the inside that the watchmakers can't order online, translation, if you need your watch serviced, you're going to have to send it back to Tissot, and that'll probably cost you more money. And here's the thing, because of the plastic parts inside, they're not going to work on it. They're going to take the movement, they're going to chuck it into the garbage, and they're going to put in a new one because it's going to cost them less money to do so. So is this a cheap watch? No. This is a gorgeous watch. It works very well. And honestly, some people would say, hey, brand new movement? Cool. I'm not one of those, but again, for $750, you're getting a quality watch. You really are. Do I think it's a bargain? No. Do I think it's a little overpriced? For what you're getting, no. Because again, 80-hour power reserve. I mean, that is just impressive. It really is. But yeah, you get a date complication at the 6 o'clock position. It's just a beautiful, gorgeous watch. It's not hideously expensive. It's not a luxury watch, but it does look more expensive than it really is. And personally, I'm glad I bought it. Guys, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this watch review video. And yeah, please stay safe out there. Unfortunately, yes, it's still dangerous. Take care, guys.